Okay, so the recording is on. Okay, so I think we already started on the Ansible, right? Uh, I mean to say Ansible playbook. If you look ls here, so we did ping.yaml. Yeah.
So are we gonna still continue? Are we gonna talk about playbook in YAML, or did we already finish that?
The YAML part is done. I cannot hear you though. You sound so far away. Hello, can you hear me?
Is it better now?
Yeah, it's much better.
Okay.
So what was the question?
I was saying, could you just cover a little bit of what we at the last bit we covered at the end of last week for the playbook in YAML, just to get a little
Yeah,
bit
yeah,
more.
yeah. The playbook is something which is built in here. A lot of hard work is anything you could think of, like a commands and the situation that will arrive. Those things has what I should say. It's called module. Okay, so what Ansible is doing is they are making the system engineers life easy by predefining predefining what is expected from a command. Okay, so for example, if you are doing LVM, so over here the ping we are how do we normally ping? We have to ping and then the IP address here, right? So what is happening here is they are just telling you to just make sure follow this pattern. And you know what, this thing is kind of confusing. Let me get rid of this here. I'm gonna just keep it in the in reality it is very small and simple. There is not much in the script here. A lot of hard work is done by Ansible and the modules. Okay, so I'll show you. You might have got confused looking at the text in there. Okay, this is it. This is a YAML script here. This little silly script is telling, when you run it, it's telling the system host, look for the host. By default is going to look for the host in etc Ansible, right? So it's going to look for that host and then gather facts. This is a built-in Ansible module here. So sometimes this module, if you put true, is going to do some extra steps in there. So let's see what it's going to do when you put it true in here. Okay, and then the task is What is the task you wanted to do? Okay, when you are working with this host, just ping this host. That's what we are telling. So let's run the same command, Ansible ping, Ansible playbook ping. That's how it rolls. So in gathering facts, most of the time, what I do is I keep it false. So what it did is it went and gathered the facts. That means it's kind of made sure the IP, the host name is correct. Is that all it's doing? I think. And the task is using the ping module here. Okay, now what we're gonna do is, let me go back in here.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So when you put for gather facts, when you make it false, what's the difference? What does it do differently?
It's skipping that part. It's not verifying that you are looking at the same exact host. Like here, gathering facts, that means in this situation it is only making sure the host name is correct. Okay? So if you look up here, it's not doing gathering facts here. All it's doing is the task. This is what it's doing here. So if you need to, we could get rid of gathering fact also. And okay, so
you said gathering facts, just make sure it's the correct host name?
yeah.
Okay.
So what it does is, if it's not a correct host name, it will respond it to you. And okay, so task gathering facts is still there. Why is it there? Host client. Okay, so if you are not putting in there, there's a built-in function. It will automatically gather the facts. But if you're specifying gather the facts, don't do it, then it won't do it for you.
Okay.
Okay, so let me put this back here. So if you did we send it together false, right? So when you specify false, then it is skipping it because it doesn't. You're specifically telling don't gather facts. If you don't have the line in there at all, then it will automatically gather the facts. So let's go ahead and take a look at the ping module. So the best place, yeah, go ahead.
And you said if you use gather facts and the host name is a little off or wrong, it will send you what message?
Yeah, it will crash, I think so. Let's do that. Very good question. So if I do gather facts, so if the host name is wrong, say example ZMPT 1, okay, and then if I, so that host name doesn't exist, right? So let's see, what I'll do is I'll just try to ping it. But if you have the host name gather facts true, then what I'll do is it will actually stop right there. So what happened is it went through warning could not match the supplied host name. So it's actually stopping it. This when it was false, it skipped verifying the host name. It went ahead and did the ping. Okay, no match found. Okay, so it did ping it too. Gathering fact should have could not match supplied host pattern, ignoring. Okay, if it's false, let's see if it's going to ignore. Okay, could not match supplied host pattern, ignoring. Skipping. Skipping, no host match. Okay, so if you have questions, then what you could do is the best source is this place here. So let's go and put it in here. You want to know about gather facts, right? Let's see here. Um, Modules. Let's type in module here. Okay, if that doesn't work, put in Google here. Okay, let's see what it's going to tell us. Gather facts. Okay, so we have gather fact yes here. Gather fact is no. Would I still be able to reference? Okay, so I would be able to reference. Does it stop me? Okay, it seems like to me you could set this up and also define to get a lot of other information, okay, from the host before you run the task. So let's see, if you don't gather facts, then those variables will never be collected and set. If you don't actually need the fact for your playbook, feel free to skip it. You but many roles and plays you will use depend on knowing the version and all that. Mm-hmm. So gather facts in itself is you have to define it. Um, Most of the time, I'm not doing it. Um, in reality, you may or may not. I mean, in reality, you'll be working with the known host. Okay, so if you go on to that micro level, it's not necessary, but you could definitely go into those levels. And then, but what happens sometimes is if you try to define those, it will actually hamper your ability to what you're actually trying to do. Okay, so in layman terms, just use gather facts if you really want to see if the host is in that group or not. So let's see if we do this, gather facts, we're gonna do true, and get rid of this part here. So we have so many hosts in the etc Ansible host list, right? So let's see if it's gonna go through and then do anything more than what it. Uh-oh. Error, host list cannot be empty. Please check your playbook. So vi/etc Ansible hosts. Okay, so it's not empty. So you have to say all in there, I think, yeah. Host is all.
Are you putting a tab between host and all, or just a space?
Space.
Okay.
Okay, see if you now it's like gathering facts, that means it's like I couldn't tell you what exactly it's doing by default, but the gathering fact part is there by default here. It's gonna go there, gather facts. What I'm thinking is just making sure the host is pinging through. It's validating the host here. So it's doing the ping command in here in the background, and then our task is also to do the ping, so that's what it's doing.
And you said typically you wouldn't need to use gather facts?
No. I mean, gather facts is like before you run any other task, you want to gather some information like host name and all that. You could further define it. That's what I'm thinking. So in practicality, I'm not using it, but there are a lot of other things. Also in like there are a lot of other things in Linux here. I mean there, but you could use it as needed. But for example, I teach you so many commands here, right? That's not the end of all the commands. There are a lot of other commands you will run into later on. All right, let's move away from here a little bit. Let's focus on. So what we did was okay, so all our clients. So let me go back in their client. So all these clients are there, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to use the playbook to define the okay, so I'm going to save and exit here. Okay, so give me 1 second here. So I'm going to run this command and see what happens here, okay? Uh-oh. Okay, so all the disks are free now, and let's do fs tab. Fs tab is clear also. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, so see here, whatever we did here, LVM, using the script, what we're going to do is we're going to use the same thing using the playbook. Okay, so normally what you do is you would have a bunch of playbook examples with you. So let's go find one.
So what did you just do with LSBLK and the ETCFS tab?
I just check it's all clear.
Okay.
I just want to make sure ETCFS tab doesn't have the entries, the previous entries we had. So for example, if you're looking at it, it doesn't have too many entries, just have 2 entries in there.
Okay.
And LS
command you ran, the Ansible all dash I, what does that do?
Oh, this is an ad hoc command. This is not a playbook. This is I means input, and then we are specifying the file name. Remember, I'm ignoring. I'm specifying the file instead of by default is going to go take a look at etc Ansible host files, right? If I remove this, by default is going to go to etc Ansible host files, which at this moment is all the list of this host names. So it's going to come out good. Okay, did you get did your answer did your question got answered? So if you go back in here, I told you if you want, this is the default file it will read by default. Where is that file? by default, it's reading this file here, right? For the ad hoc commands. What I'm telling you is ignore that, and I is to specify a file and its location. So I'm instead of reading this file here, etc host name, etc Ansible host file name, instead of that, read this file here. Okay, you could give the absolute path or relative path, one of those. Did you get it?
Yeah, so it's changing the file location for what to read.
Yeah, true.
So when you're putting the quotes in the LSBLK or the ETCFS tab, what did that do after that line of command?
That's just the regular command. That's just a regular command. If you would do LSBLK, you're running this command locally here, right? As if you're running the local command on those files and those 5 servers. This is the command of your choice you're putting in. Okay, this is the command. Okay, if you want to find out the BLK ID, it's gonna run on all 5 servers, it's gonna hit that file, etc Ansible host file. It's gonna hit that file, and it will run that command against those servers and bring the output to you. Okay, good. Okay, so yeah, this looks good to me. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this. And I'm gonna go into VI LVM playbook .yaml. Okay, and then I'm going to paste it in here. All right, so it's pasted here. So what I'm doing is I'm copying something I found online, and then let's go ahead and play with it. Okay, see how that will play out when we are actually doing the Ansible here. So give me 1 second here. Okay, so let me review this. So we're gonna follow what we have already created here. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so where are my extending? Okay, here. Okay, so what we have already done here, we use this manually, then we use same exact thing using the script. Okay, now we're gonna do this using the you're gonna use this using the Ansible playbook. Okay, so it's gonna be really easy, and most of the time you would have this written for you, or you could search it up. All you have to do is use your knowledge a little bit and then change things around here. Okay, I'll show you how we're gonna do this. So we do have these drives, right? SDC, SDD, SDE. Okay, so we're gonna follow the same pattern, and then we're gonna do this here. So these 3 lines, it will tell the system that this is a playbook, and then you have to give it a space and host, and here it's specifying the DB host, right? What we could do is, remember when we were in root, so remember how we had groups here? If we just tell the group here Chicago instead of DB host, it will run only on 2 servers here. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say all. So this file at this moment is going to go into look at etc host files. I'm sorry, etc Ansible host files. Okay. And the user, how are you going to connect? You're going to connect as a user as a root. Okay, and here name, this is just the echo command here. So what are we going to do is we're going to replace this to create a volume group. Okay, group on SDC, SDD, and SDE slash SD dev slash SDC space dev slash SDD space slash dev SDE. Okay, so this is just a dumb statement. It's not doing anything. It's like an echo statement. Okay. Now over here, it says LVG. Okay, So we are here right now. So we verified, okay, this is what we did. And instead of PV create, LVG is built-in module, logical volume group. Okay. And over here, we did PVS, right? PV create. It's all built in here, this part. So now what it's doing is VG is doing VG create here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna give the VG name ZMPT1, okay? And here the name of the drives. So I'm gonna give all three of these. So I'm gonna delete this and I'm gonna work on three of these drives here, right? 1, 2, and 3 here. But what you have to do is you have to give it a comma over here. A comma, comma, okay? If you have more than one drives in here. And then this part is done. When the script runs, it will create VG volume group ZMPT using these three hard drives. Okay, now I'm gonna go to the second part. Here is now we're gonna create a partitions in there. So this is not necessary. Okay, and VGS. This is not necessary. This is not necessary. LVS. So it made the. So it's making the drives here. So we'll just wait for it. Let's make the partitions first. So here, name. So whatever we found on the internet, we're gonna remove this. This part, I'm gonna say accounting LVM. Okay, accounting logical volume. This part here. LV create -n finance and all that, right? So now in here it's a little different. So over here you have to tell the name which VG you're carving this out of. I'm gonna say ZMPT1 and the volume name. Okay, what should the volume name would be? Accounting. Over here, accounting. Okay, I'm gonna give it accounting. And then the size. What is the size you want? We had it 4 GB here, right? So let's do 4 GB. So we have accounting. And we are carving this out of ZMPT1. And logical volume is accounting. And the commands is LVM volume. All this part and commands is being taken care of by the by Ansible. Okay, so we don't have to worry about these. Now this part is gonna repeat now. All these are creating LVMs here, right? LVM creation, LVM creation, LVM creation. So I'm gonna get rid of this. Okay. This part I'm going to copy Uh-oh. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this part. Let me go up and take a look here first. Okay, so this part, we are creating the accounting here, right? And then what else we need to create is finance, HR, and recruiting. So in here, I'm going to come here. In this line, I'm going to make a big space here. And then over here, I'm going to paste this. And here, I'm going to say I'm on to finance now. Okay, everybody with me? Finance. The only part I'm getting rid of is the names. And how much is the finance hard drive is 6 GB. So I'm going to put down 6 GB, okay? Now I need to do, finance is done, I need to do HR. Okay, so I come back up here again. Similar thing, how much is HR? HR is 2 GB, right? You know, let's give the size, bigger size in here because we have very big hard drives. 8. Accounting. So this is HR. I'm going to give the name HR. Right, and I'm going to change the name here. Name hyphen name. This part is a dumb part. It's not doing anything. The spacing is important here, guys. When you're doing this, make sure you have good space. I mean the exact space. Follow the pattern. And this is yeah. Go ahead.
So the hyphen name just for you to see. It won't do anything. Is what you're saying, right?
Yeah. Recruiting. And I'm carving this out of this here, and I'll copy and paste the recruiting part. And how much I want recruiting, let's give recruiting also 8 GB. So 8, 16, 32. You know what, hold on, let me make sure. You have to do a little bit of hyphen M shell. So how much space we have? We are using SDC, SDD, and SDE, right? Uh-oh. We don't have much space here. 8. Okay. Good thing I checked here. Eight, 16. So let's do 4. 8. I'm gonna give it like 4G. It doesn't matter the size here. I mean, what we're learning is should be good enough. And then the recruiting, let's do 2 GB, just to be on the safe side. So how much we have? 4, 10, 16, 17, 18. 18 out of 32. So let's give this one 6 also. Okay. Okay, now Now what we're going to do is we have to create a file system, mkfs.xfs, okay? So this part, what is it doing on this part is, so the name, I'm going to say, so I think the file system, it will do it separately for all of them. So you have to specify each. So here I'm going to say create file system. Accounting. Okay, file system is a built-in module, and file system type XFS. And then we have to give this here, we have to follow this here, same thing. So for here we are doing dev/zmpt/finance, right? It will be the same thing over here also. ZMPT1, here at the end what you do is you type accounting. So the important thing is what you have put down here as accounting and all that, the spelling should match. All these things should match. It's going to be it matters because if you put lowercase a in accounting, it's a different thing, right? Just to be safe side, I'm copying and pasting it, okay? So now the second is create a file system for finance, right? And if you want, we could do ext, so let's stick with xfs, and this part is going to be the same, zmpt1 finance. Then create file system for recruiting, right? We had recruiting or HR first? We had HR. I think I gave the name HR in both capital letters, HR. Yeah. And the recruiting, I'm copying it, making sure. XFS. ZMPT1. Okay, see, I see a mistake here. It will be disastrous. Okay, now we are done with that part. Now we are on to mounting. So we are here now. Okay, so we are saying mount. So we have to tell all this again. So I'm going to say mount. Here accounting. And this part /name. So what I'm going to say is accounting. And SRC means source. Which volume you want to mount there. So I'm going to say ZMPT1/accounting. And file system XFS. And state mount means it's gonna, when you say state mount means it will actually mount it for you, okay? In this process here, it's doing two things here. It's creating the It's creating the folder name, accounting, and then it's going to mount it for you. First time running the script is going to be painful. It's going to be painful to understand all this here. The more you do it, the better it gets. Okay, finance. So we're going to give the name finance here, okay? Before that, let me make sure all the hard drives are gone in there. So I'm going to do /L. Okay, so if you look in here, we don't see this, right? We don't see accounting. Everybody help me. If you see something which is already there, let me know, and then we'll get rid of this. So I think one of the command we already have gotten rid of it. Okay, so now the finance, ZMPT1 finance. The spelling, I mean the uppercase, lowercase, how you have given up in the description, you have to give it the same exact way. And over here is HR. I remember HR, I'm giving you it in capital letters, so that's what I have to do. ZMPT1/HR. Okay, and the file system is XFS. And it's mounted.
फाइनेंस का भी XFS करना है.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. It would have been disastrous. So this is the fifth one. We don't need it because we copied from the internet. So that's all there to it, okay? In this part here, mount part, it's actually creating the drive, mkdir, it's doing that here for you, and it's mounting it for you. So hopefully I didn't make any mistake, especially in spellings.
So you're not going to do the recruiting? Oh, you did.
Did I do it? Yeah.
No, not.
Oh, no, I didn't do recruiting. I should. Okay, thank you.
I think you also deleted a line for state for HR both.
Uh-oh.
You deleted mounted.
Yeah. This is supposed to be recruiting, right? Not HR.
Correct.
And here also recruiting. Over here is supposed to be HR. So for the mount, we have recruiting, HR, finance, accounting. Okay, good. So this part is going to create the file and mount it. Create the file in the sense it's going to create the folder for it and mount it for us. Okay, now here it's creating the file system, recruiting, HR, finance, accounting. Looks good to me. And we have 6 GB, 6 GB. Okay, so 618 plus 4 is 22 out of how much we got there? So we have 24, right? We are using SDC, SDD, and SDE. So let's do SDB here just to be on the safe side. SDB is pretty good. So we have SD 16, 8, and 8. Now we have 32. So I could give the size here like 10 GB. Okay. Then this is 6 and then 22. No, yeah, 22, and this is 28. So here I'm gonna put pound and say creating LVMs. Okay, and then here creating file system.
So I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
When you run this, will it automatically add it to the ETCFS tab or no?
It will.
Okay.
The mounted state will do that for you, actually. We got these things are like, some of the things are not visual. It's doing a lot of things in the background here. So here, that's actually a very good question. What is doing here is create directory, create mount point. Okay, I think I have explained you creating a directory is called mount point. Mount and fs tab entry. So this dude, he has this here. He didn't change anything, so we followed him along. Okay, so finally it will make a fs tab entry into and to mount them across the across system rebooter. I don't know what it means, but so okay, this is the output we're gonna get when we run this. If anything is gonna fail, it will tell us. Okay, so that is something extra. Okay, so we did our best here, so let's cross our fingers and run this and see what happens, okay? So I'm gonna have another window open here, and right in front of you, I'm gonna run this one time here, make sure we have the output. This is what we have. Once we, I meant to run df-h. Okay, so nothing is mounted and all that, right? Let's do Ansible playbook, and then the playbook lvm playbook.yaml. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit enter. Let's see what will happen. Okay, it's gonna go gather the facts. Okay, find clients and create LVM, create accounting, finance. Okay, it says change. That means it did all on 5. It create a file system and accounting on 5 servers: recruiting, logical volume, accounting, HR. There it is. It's done. Down on the bottom, it gives us, telling us that the recap here is, what is the recap? Let me move it here. So it says okay, and it changed 13 items. Anything failed, nothing failed, 0. Anything skipped, nothing skipped, rescued, nothing was rescued, ignored, nothing was ignored. So it made 13 changes. It says 14 is the one which is actually connecting to it. 13 are the changes in here. Okay, so let me minimize this. Let me expand this.
Can we go and check the first tab, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing it here. Let's do DFF and H. See, all 4 drives are mapped, and you want FS tab, right? Yep, it's all there. If you look at 3, accounting is there, finance is there, HR is there, recruiting is there. It's all good. This is it, guys. What you did is you just performed a complex task using Ansible, which is a configuration manager, and you just created some good infrastructure using Ansible. Okay, if you ever heard the term LAS, or what is the term, SAS or something like that, PaaS, or infrastructure as code. If you hear something about it, Ansible is one of them. It is helping you create or manage multiple servers here. If you go deep down, you will be able to create the servers also. But then you have to get deeper and deeper into Ansible here. What I did for you guys here is give you the good foundation here, how Ansible is working and all that. Based off this, you could do a lot of self-studies on it. I mean, the more you try to work on this, the more you find information online, the better it gets for you.
Okay. So when you're running Ansible dash playbook, which file is it reading the host from? Is it reading from the etc Ansible host file, or is it reading from a different file?
No, the host, it's running the YAML against the etc. It's running the YAML against cat etc Ansible host. This file is running against this file here. So it verified these 4 servers.
Okay.
Okay, that is end of Ansible, and let's see. Let's take a break here. We'll take good 15-minute break, and then I'll come back, and then I'll look into starting new. I'm trying to hopefully end this class end of this month here. Okay, so if not, if we need to go beyond that, we will.
And Mr. Zafar,
Yeah,
can you show me what machines you have open? You know, I was just getting the memory card and I wasn't able to see in the beginning of class.
I have all the machines open.
Okay, Ansible, DNS primary, DNS
I have about
secondary.
I have about 8 open running right now.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in scripting. Okay, all right. I'll go ahead and open them and see if my computer runs fast enough. Okay.
How much did you add?
I had 4, so I went and got 8.
Did you add it though?
DDR.
Were you able to add?
Was I able to add?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he took the 4 out and added the 8.
Oh, okay. So it's not like you get 8, 12 because there is not
Yeah,
enough
like
space there, right?
Yeah, I don't think there is enough slots. I don't know.
I mean,
I can check it myself.
So, which topic are you going to start after the break?
we'll see here. I mean, I'll find out. Let's see what we did so far. So we did permissions and all that here. And maybe we'll start FTP, or TFTP, or one of those topics. The other ones are only maybe we'll start cron job. You want to know how to run the cron job? We'll work on that,
Okay.
and we'll see how that will play out.
Okay.
All
So
right.
one question.
Yeah.
When we're running this playbook, if you had one, like if you made an error mistake with the names for like finance or accounting, like if you used a lowercase number, what would be the fix? Would you have to just fix the playbook and rerun it, or would you have to unmount everything and remove everything from all the other servers?
So all these things have to be. You have to do a lot of pre-planning. Okay, running this just doesn't cut it. Okay. What we did here is we did some planning here, right? We made this here and made sure all of them are identical. Like all of them has like extra 4 hard drives, so that becomes a part of a planning because you are doing the specific playbook that will run on the identical servers. In reality, for example, database is running a specific application, right? For example, Oracle, and they're running that Oracle server, and they have one specific Oracle server for a specific application, and they are using 200 servers for that. So what you have to do is you have to do the planning here. All the servers should have same exact hard drives. All the servers have same exact RAM, same exact operating system level. Like when you do hostname CTL, all these things should match in here. You know, I mean the kernel and all this, everything should be in the perfect everything should. It's like a ballet, everything should be in perfect synchronization. If something breaks, then you have to realize where it's breaking and you could do it. But if you had made a mistake in the playbook, then you probably have to do it all over again, all the servers.
So what would you have to do to fix that server?
Okay, hold on, let me mute him.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So what would you have to do? Would you just have to remove it from all the servers, or just rerun the playbook with the fix when you after you fix the playbook?
Um,
Oh,
it's safe to run the playbook again. It will not do damage. Let's go ahead and run it.
so like, would it just override the previous LVM you created, or no? Would you have to remove
It
that from
probably
all the
will not override. It will just skip that part here. We'll see how it's there. Let me run it again.
Okay.
Ooh, it's overriding.
Okay. So it'll just override the drive.
No, we'll see here. That doesn't mean anything. We'll see. Wait and see the result at the end.
Okay.
Okay, so it ignored. It didn't change anything. Look, all of them are zero. The changes are zero. And changed, failed, skipped. It says skipped zero, ignored zero. So it didn't make any changes. It ran over them, but it didn't make any changes here. Okay, so let's go in there and mess up with one of the.
Okay. In the playbook, right?
Yeah.
Something in there.
Not the playbook. Let's mess up one file system for one of the server and see what it's going to do. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so. So here I'm gonna give this is NY and this is Chicago. So what I'm gonna do is in here I'm gonna delete something. I'm gonna say rm-rf / accounting.
You have it as rm-rm.
Okay, so here I'm gonna mess up with, instead of all I'm gonna type Chicago.
Okay.
Oh, the file doesn't exist. I made a mistake. ACCOUNTING.
So this will just delete the directory, right?
Yeah.
And those servers. Oh, it's busy, right? Because they're mounted.
Okay, so you do. It didn't, okay, let's see here. So it's unmounted, right?
Yes, it's gone.
So I'm gonna do is let me do if accounting is there. Okay, so we removed it. Okay, so accounting is not there. Now let's overrun this Ansible here.
So even though we deleted those files, will they still be there in those servers ETCFS tab, or will they also be gone then?
You tell me, where will their files be?
No, before we run this playbook.
If the MKFS would have run on it, it will be gone. If it's not running the MKFS, see, it's telling you change those two servers. Mounting part. Okay, so it changed out of 14 tasks, it changed 2. 1 task on each of them. That means it created MKDIR here. Accounting part, right? Here, mount accounting, and it says this here. So the mounted part is also part of the the mounted command is also creating the what is it creating also? Let me do LSBLK, okay, DFFNH here for Chicago. Okay, so the accounting is back then. So to me, it's telling me that it's pretty safe here. Whatever you did, those mistakes,
Yes.
is gonna override it or just create them for you.
Okay.
But if you create a mistake in a playbook, then I mean, it's just you just have to see where the problem is. That's where the humans come in. The machines could do so much, and after that, the machine cannot tell where the problem is. Okay, let's take a 15-minute break, and then I will be back at 1:50, and then from there I will start on new topics.
Okay. So it would have been gone, correct? From the ETCFS tab once you unmounted it and deleted the directory?
Oh, I don't know that.
Okay.
We could check. I could check it when we come back. Okay.
Okay.
So it does goes to port. I want to see there is a file that runs the script. That script checks the ETCFS tab. So it's not showing me in here. No, it's bringing me back here to. it's written in binary.
So what were you looking to find?
I was looking to find a file that will execute a script that will go through the list of files that need to be in place before the system boots. One of the file is one of the file is etcfs tab file. Okay, so give me 1 second here. So it manages okay, I'm not getting good information. Let me do some research on it. I'll get back to you next time. So let's move forward here. Before I forget, let me copy this file.
This is a phone. Did you restart the recording?
I did. Yeah, the recording is running. Okay, so this puppy here is so here. Remember, it says it did 13, right? So let's see here. It has 13 items, right? So it did 1. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so remember when initially it came back, it did 13 changes here. That means it ran through in here, and there is one other way you could confirm it. It went through the 13 changes that you put it in the script here, okay? Okay, so we are done with Ansible here. Let's focus on let me save this here. Oh. Is this not working? Okay, so let's focus something new today. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what SCP is. Secure copy, okay? It stands for secure copy. And you would definitely need to know. A lot of times, most of the times you would be using it. So it's called secure copy, SCP. Okay, so what will happen is you want to copy from one server to another server, right? So what you're going to do is this SCP is used for used to copy files and
Right.
folders over the network. To another host, okay? Okay, so this is a good example here. So what I'm going to do is so you have client here. So you have client 1 and you have client 2, right? Okay, and let's see what is the IP address for client 1. Okay, this looks good to me. So let's see here on the client. Okay, so let me get out of here. I'm gonna just go directly into one client. Um, so let's see if I could ping it here from client 2. Cannot ping client 2 from client 1 here, probably because yeah. So I'm not worried about this. In the perfect scenarios, everything will be working here. So in general terms, what we have to do is we have to go from one server to another server here, right? So what I'm going to do is, if I want to copy from server 1 to server 2, so let me open another session here. What is the server 2? Is 120. 192.168.56.120. Okay, so we'll leave this server on the side here. So let's work on this server. So if I do ls here, the file is there, right? So I want to copy LVM script to this server here, okay? How do I do that? The command is scp, okay? And I give which file, and now the destination. So you have to type in the IP address of the destination here. Okay? Then you put colon and a forward slash, and you could define the location where you want to put it, okay? So I'm going to put it in TMP file. I'm going to do ls tmp and let's see if something is in there. So I'm going to remove everything in TMP file. Okay. Now what I'm going to do this, when I'm going to do this is we'll establish the SSH connection also, okay? Yes. And the password, Red Hat, and there you go. It transferred the file from here to another file, another location here. So if I do ls, which file I should find? Okay, so the file from here to here is copied. Okay, that's it. This is what SCP is.
Mr. Zafar.
Yeah.
So if you connect two clients together, right, and they share their keys and everything, but then later on you don't want to have a connection between the two, how do you change your key, or just remove that connection?
The key will there for a very long time unless something has changed. The username has changed, or possibly the password might have changed on that server.
Okay. So
You
if they
want
were
you
to
want to
change,
remove, what do you want to remove?
so if you were client two and you wanted to remove client one's connection to it,
Passwordless connection.
yes.
Client 1 to client 2. Right now this is not passwordless. This is each time if you're going to do this again, it will ask for the password again.
Okay. But up above it says warning permanently added the IP to the list of known hosts.
Yeah, it does. The connection between two servers is a complex handshake. It's doing sync, and ACK. It's doing one of these things here. So where is the handshake? It's doing the TCP handshake, right? It's connecting and acknowledging and doing that. At the same time, it's exchanging the keys. It's doing this thing at the same time. Secure connection is it's doing the secure connection here. Okay, now I get your question. So if you want to delete it, where do you want to delete it from? Okay, so you go into cd dot ssh folder, which is hidden. You go into ls-l authorized keys, and you do vi authorized keys and take the key out.
So you just delete that?
Yep.
Okay. And
Let's-
that key is coming from the client one?
Let's do this. Let's delete and save it, and it will ask this part again, the key exchange. It didn't, because we need to change it on the other side also. So let's go in here and see it and change it. In here, you go to vi dot, you go in there and you do known host, I think, yeah. So this is 120. If I delete 120 now, it will ask for this again. Handshake, yes.
Okay, so it needs to be done from both sides.
One side. Now you should have it. Why is it not having it? Okay, let me go back in there again. I thought it would have this. Now, which key it gave it in here is ls-la. Okay, so it has the bash SSH So I kind of created the authorized keys here, so I'm in trouble now. I could see why this is giving a problem here.
Would restarting it fix the problem possibly?
No. No, actually it's working. It's working actually. Okay, so let's see here, VI. It's not there yet. But if you go in here, the known host should have a key in there.
What changed? Why wasn't it working and then it started?
So known host is actually giving the keys out. This host key is coming from this host. This key is doing this when it's doing the handshake here. So let me clear this. Authorized keys here. So if I do SSH from this side to this side here, what will happen is this key is there is a two-part key in there. Let's see if I have this in here. Let me do SSH from this side to this side and see what happens. Okay, exit. So if I do ls here, now it has a known key, known host in here. So vi known host, it has the key which is coming from 117, the one on the left side here. So if I do cat known host, it's going to have only 120, but if you do vi authorized keys, so if you look at this key and this key here, it's essentially in the background, it's alphanumeric key here. This is the full key and this is the partial key. Okay, so next time it's going to connect, it's going to remember that it has established a connection once previously, so it's not going to exchange the key. It will exchange the password only this time, because this key is needed for the secure tunnel connection. Secure shell is actually making a tunnel. Okay, I mean, if you want to become a cryptographer, this is where you're going to be. There's going to be a lot of, this is just the basic that is coming in here, but there's a lot of things that will get involved with these keys here. So for now, just keep it like this here, because it itself is a big subject in here. Oh yeah. There are so many other things out there that involves, especially if you end up working for banks. All these things matters because when you're doing the online banking and everything, all these things, the session and all that is there. Open SSL, random numbers and all that here. Okay, so your answer will remain unanswered unless you know more deep into the cryptography and how this cryptography is working. Okay, so
Could you
yeah,
could you check the authorized keys for the server on the right?
yeah, let's take it out. And you want to try it again from here?
Yeah, I just want to see if it's back now or not.
So I'm thinking it won't be back. Yeah.
No, I'm saying for the client O2.
In here?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not back there yet.
Thought maybe once you establish the SSH, it would put it back.
Yeah.
How would you get it back? Would it fix itself automatically when you reboot the system or no?
Uh, I think you may have to do SSH keygen.
Oh, okay.
Once you run the SSH keygen, but then again it's doing the RSA, private and public. Okay, the new file authorized keys, authorized. Okay, so the SSH in here, new file with authorized keys of known hosts.
So if you do keygen, would you have to reestablish the connection all over again? Because the keys would be changed now or no?
Uh, I I don't know. I mean, I don't do this much of. See, in the environment, we don't have to work on the granular level here. But let's see. Let's see. Let's reboot first and see what happens. No, it's not there. So let's see here. If I do SSH keygen, So it didn't do anything to authorize keys. Let me remove authorized keys. Now let me try to connect from here. So it's still not creating one. I think it will create one when I do the SSH copy. If I do this command, still doesn't do it. I have no idea what is going on. It created here, did it? It kind of updated here. Now this one has a file in there. I read this file and this file. Let's look at these two files here. Not this one. .public. These two files are matching actually.
So when you did this SSH copy ID, where you're supposed to put in the IP of the client O1 instead of the client O2?
Client O, yeah, I put in the IP address for this client, yes.
Should you have done the one on the left instead?
No, this is the source and this is the destination. See?
Okay. So with the copy ID, it's to copy to a different destination.
It's copy the public keychain now. It copied the public keychain in here, from here to here. Okay, so now if I do this, if I do only SSH, see what happens. Okay, so it didn't ask for the password. So now it is set as a passwordless.
Yeah, because you put the public key in there.
Yeah. So let's delete this and see what happens, okay?
So originally, what were the two keys that were in the authorized? Because it wasn't passwordless before, so did they have their own, it was their own keys that were sitting in there?
I think those are the authorized keys when we set up Ansible.
Oh, okay.
That's when those are.
Okay.
Now if he gonna go run the Ansible, is gonna break. Let's try that. So I deleted the authorized keys from here. This is empty, so I'm going to try to connect again. And I'm going to do Red Hat. So now it's asking for the, oh, I connected itself. I should have been doing 120. Yeah, see?
Oh, so this time going to ask for the fingerprint exchange again?
Yes.
Is this because you generated the new keys or because you deleted the authorized?
I think I deleted the authorized key.
So that's why it exchanged?
Yep.
Okay.
So now if I quit this, and if I do exit here, and if I do SSH copy again,
Should be passwordless.
so if I do SSH 120, right? This is 120?
It's
Yeah, so if I do SSH 120, it's asking for the password. It's not passwordless anymore. If I exit, so if I do VI authorized, so it's nothing in there. Now if I do SSH copy, that key get thrown in there again. Yeah. So if I do cat, the key is there now.
okay. Wait, hold on. It only exchanges the fingerprints when they're not in the known host file, right? Not the authorized keys.
Yeah, so now when we do SSH 120 now, it should automatically connect without asking for the password.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. It connected without asking for the password. Alright, you always have so interesting things here. You are kind of very deep in there, but day in and day out, you don't normally need to know all these things,
Okay.
or you don't come across. Even if you come across, you override it and then start working on it again, because you wouldn't have time. You're managing thousands of servers. You won't have time.
Yeah.
So let me explain the command here. So this command is let's see here. So this is command scp, and the source file lvmscript.scr. Okay, and then this is the destination and location. Okay, so So the file gets copied on the other side here. Okay, so you do this here, but what about the folder here? So folder, you have to do it, you have to zip it. Most of the time I zip the folder and then send it over the so let's see here, if you want to do the folder here. So what I'll do is mkdir transfer. Okay, I go into CD transfer and I do touch file dollar squiggly line, and I do 1000, right? So I have 1000 files here. So what I'm gonna do is it won't work if you just want to copy if you want to copy the file from here to another, the folder, you have to zip the folder. Okay, so how are you going to zip the folder? Let's take a look at our basic command tar. So it says save the folder to a single file. So let's run this command tar. And the name of the folder was transfer, right? So it tarred, it has 1000 files in there now. Okay, now when you do, what you're gonna do is you're gonna do scp transfer and then to the destination 192.168.56.120 :/tmp. So it transferred there. Why? Because we transferred it there. So the file is transferred now. So the file is there. So you do mk transfer, you copy, you create some files in there, 1000 files. And you do zip it. And then you transfer it. Okay, so this is what SCP is.
So in order to transfer it as a single file, you have to make it a tar file.
Yeah. If
Why is
you could still do it if you don't want to do it like if you want to transfer the folder, the chance of data loss is higher in here. If you do -r transfer, now you could do SCP. Yeah, go ahead. What was the question?
No, I'm just saying, so if you have to use tar, but you just said you don't have to.
No, see the if you do a tarball, the data integrity is there. Okay.
Okay.
If you don't do the tar, then the data integrity is not there. So you have to do -r for without data integrity. You may end up losing. So if you do the transferring, you must do tar to preserve. Okay, you can still transfer folders. Okay, you do this way, and we'll transfer it for you. If you do CD transfer, the data integrity is there. Well, right now, I mean, it's not a big major data we are transferring. If you're transferring like something like a bank transactions or anything like those, normally you don't do that. You use tar.
Okay. So on the Word document, could you go back to that, please? So what's the difference between the line where you use tar-cvf transfer and then the SCP transfer that tar? What's going on in that line?
Let's see here. -cvf means show us verbose, and C, we have to go and look in there. Did I explain it here on the top? Saves the data. So if you get stuck like that, you type man tar, and let's go see what C was. Tar -c means archive. Let's go to, okay, C stands for create new archive. Okay, then V stands for verbose. V stands for verbose, list the files which are being processed. Okay, and what is the F? F stands for use file or device. Okay, so we are creating a file in here. So you have to use a file, and then if you're gonna create the archive, you have to create J. It will be the bzip. C stands for create. And what else we have there? V is verbose. That means it will show you the files. And F over here is saying is the file. Right? F equals archive file. Use the archive file or device archive. So most of the time I'm using F in there, and I normally don't think about it too much. But yeah, if you want to go deeper and deeper, this is where all the stuff is. Play around with it and see what comes up with it. ARF and all that here. Similarly, you would have more options here for man SCP. Man -1 means force to protocols. It's a lot of deeper information in here if you want to look more into it. But the ones I'm showing you, those are the ones you would be using at the job here. And anybody, even the seasoned administrator, he's been out there for 20 years. If you want to do something new, he will just look up, okay? Don't be shy to look up stuff online. Okay, so let me save this part here. And, oh, we are over time. Okay, so I'm going to stop here today. And then we'll pick it up from here. I think we have 4 or 5 more topics to cover before the class is over, okay?
Okay.
All right, so any questions, put it in the chat. If not, when this is ready, I'll put it in the document and upload it.